Good afternoon. How are you? I'm back. I was going to do yesterday and then I didn't because I had a strop because the light was fucking up and I couldn't concentrate. I was trying to talk about something pretty complicated. But what happened? Do you want to know what happened? Legit. I cracked the shits. I stormed out of my house. I literally yelled at clouds. I'm just going to point out, I was yelling at clouds in quite a literal sense. I went to Spotlight. I bought blackout curtains, curtain rods, and I own a ring light now because I'm a cunt. So it's not perfect, still working on it, but at least the light will be somewhat fucking manageable now. I also had my hair done, so I'm feeling good. So let's do this thing. I will do I'll do the AstroTurf video tomorrow. It was just so funny actually. I did hide the video, but I don't know whether I should keep it up or not because seeing me lose my cool, like it's pretty funny. But yeah, basically the reason why there's shit behind me, the place is in fucking chaos because I basically just ended up tearing the whole place apart because I just got so fed up with the lines. It's because I'm relying on this webcam that does like auto exposure. And I don't have an SLR. And like, because it's, that's like the last big piece of tech purchase that I've got to make. But so this fucking thing with its auto exposure and you've just got so much fucking around. And I'm just the kind of person that would just redesign my whole house around one fucking webcam. But anyway, now I have blackout curtains and control over the light. I've got box lights and a ring light and fucking everything else. So hopefully no more no more dummy spits from Taya. It's a dummy spit that would rival even Donald Trump, I think. When I start, in the cartoons, when when you start to blow the gasket, like with the smoke coming out of the ears, that's what happens. I make a face and you know that there's an explosion coming. It's like I'm a bottler. I like to bottle things and let things just simmer and bottle and simmer and bottle and then I fucking explode. What do you mean? I'm a nice person. I'm absolutely easy to deal with and not a cunt at all. Anyway, welcome to my cunt bubble. How are you all? So this is part of this sort of debriefing on the US election and the culture wars. And it feels like some people might have the wrong idea about stuff. Can I just make a big generalization, right? I know that American politics is very different to the rest of the world, right? The words that they use are very different to the rest of the world, right? Like anything that is sort of left of center right is considered far left. It's kind of bonkers, right? We know this. But people, I think one of the things that I tend to do, because most of my fields are kind of complex, right, is that I tend to just think people live in my head and that people know what I'm talking about in terms of theory or, even that something like the political compass, right? I'm going to talk about the political compass because that's the thing that's just really confusing people at the moment, okay? Now, it's taken quite a long time for people to even acknowledge that there is two axes on this thing. People think that politics goes from you've got left and right, and those are just teams, and that's a whole that they're all monoliths, right? It's a lot more complicated than that. And what I want to do is just quickly just get you thinking about the words that you use around saying, far left, far right, even things like communism, socialism, Marxism, anything where you're sort of throwing a label. I do find, actually, do you know what I find funny is all the people that bang on and on about fucking how identity politics is like awful and terrible and it shouldn't be identity politics. It should be they're the first people to start fucking accusing people of being like part of a club. Have you noticed that? That's such my beef with this culture war stuff is that the people, if you're going to be, okay, can I just say that if you're going to be commenting on politics, please learn the basics. Just read the Wikipedia page of political theory. You don't even need to know it well, okay? I use Wikipedia to refresh concepts all the time. It's not perfect, but for the most part, it's pretty good, right? But fucking hell, people, right? The wokes are not the far left. But also, okay, aside from that, right, let's go bird's eye view on this, right? I know that I say wokes are not left, but that's because I'm using language that sort of everyone talks about. Really, left and right are somewhat meaningless anyway. And that's what I want people to sort of start to think about, which is that I'm a technically a political scientist, right? I'm qualified and I know these things. I've done all of the theory and know how the modeling works and all that sort of stuff, right? But they take these models as, even economic. This is, again, this is another problem with dumb people. Sorry, but people who, first of all, aren't experts in an area. Second of all, are being literal. Third of all, thinking of models as sort of laws rather than as models. Like this was something actually I know I've gone on a tangent, but even in med school, right? It's not med school. When I was doing the vet science, when I was doing sort of chemistry stuff to catch up, to get ready to go med school, the one thing that I didn't realize is that when they're talking about the atom, right, or about energy or about physics or those things, most of those things are models, and they're models that help us to make sense of sort of where things fit, where they are. But they don't, it's not, see, this is maybe my literal mind, but when I did chemistry in year 10, I thought this is how the atom looks. It took it as a literal representation of this is what an atom does and is and how it works. And I think that we often have to fight that temptation to create like a literal law around something that's intended as a model or as a guide, right? I think that we need to look at, I think a lot of people really just they just use words differently with different meanings, with different understandings. Like even for someone who studies political science, right, or politics, there's people who believe that politics is just the role of rule and government and the state, right? Whereas some think that it's, politics in terms of, it's not just how the government works or policy or law, but it's all of those interactions and mechanisms that run society or help us live together, right? That tends to be my view is sort of more in the middle. Others see politics as, like lawyers would say it's like public law versus private law, right? And lawyers and political scientists should be largely concerned with things that are public law, like administrative law, policy, or a criminal law, all those sorts of things. And then you've got private law, which is like contract, torts, all that sort of stuff. Again, this stuff, you got to understand how these things interact, because when you say something like, I'm a political commentator, right? This is one of my frustrations with political commentators on things, right? And I'm not saying I know everything, but there's things that I do know, which is that they don't even understand sort of the fundamentals of politics, political theory, which is if you know political science or politics or the study of politics in any meaningful way, right, or economics or any of those, you understand that these models, they're just models. They're guides. It's basically like a fucking, it helps us to sort of take an abstract, complex idea and turn it into something that, very roughly makes sense. Now, the problem with tribes forming around this, and this is what I think it was Marx. Oh, shit. I can't remember if it was Marx or not. Bad day. But who said the difference between sort of, the problem with ideology is that, which is that this that it should not be, right? If you are at all sort of interested in the issues or a good society, people don't work that way, right? I've always been really interested in the psychology of politics and how human behavior interacts and how we sort of, all of those mechanisms that work in sort of persuasion and like the psychology and how we sort of win hearts and minds and how you capture people's sort of, best parts and how you sort of weaponize their worst parts. That's always sort of been my loose sort of area, right? Oh, Philip's here. Hello. I didn't know that you made stuff out of leather, Philip. Oh, is that why you were asking me the other day? Fucking email me. I want to answer your question. Anyway, anyway, my frustration is that it's really, really important. And I know that this is boring, and I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do this in a slightly more interesting way where we just laugh and learn and be a bit silly. But at the same time, like there's some just fundamental principles that just need to be understood before you start speaking about politics. One of which is that all of the political compasses, the spectrum, all of the models, they are models. They're basically just a drawing to try and explain something. Okay, that's what models do. They are not a belief system. Now, what this has led me to, because what I observed during the culture wars, right? Well, not during the culture wars, in the lead up to the election, right? And over the years, I've started to see this sort of since 2012. I've seen this, where people take something like the political compass test, and I'm sure a lot of you have taken it, and you'll see this happen. And you'll see someone go, I'm on the left, right? Because, or whatever, right? But here I am supporting the right wing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, that shouldn't be the case anyway, right? I tend to be more of a fan of issue-based voting, like issues. And the thing that people don't, or values, right? So what I'm leading to is your values and your behavior are what determine your politics. And it's all based on each individual issue, right? Now, let's just deconstruct a little bit what a political model looks like. I'm going to do a quick screen share, and I hope this isn't too dull. I'm going to try to, mix it up a bit. But, don't be a fuckwit about this stuff. It's a model, okay? Now, this is what I find interesting, is that all of these people, right, and also the problem with political quizzes in general is, first of all, they are just models, right? Second of all, they basically try to pull all of the spectrum, all of the complexity and loading and it depends and all of those things into like assigning you an identity, which is effectively it's identity politics, right? It's the same fucking thing. Don't talk about how identity politics is stupid and how the left are fucking and their left identitarianism when you're sitting there calling them the far left and just, it's the same fucking bullshit. So anyway, hypocrites. I'm just saying, hypocrites. Anyway, get the basics right. So now, where are we? Screen share. Now, this is what you might see as like a political compass, right? Yeah, everyone calls them the Church of Woke. It's pretty well established. In fact, I was probably the first person to do it. So anyway, so look, this is the standard sort of political compass that you might see, right? And look, here's all the tribes. See, look, there's a lot of tribes in amongst them, right? Now, again, this is complex, okay? But they're models, right? So, look, so this is one model, right? This is one model. Just for example, so this, you've seen these. Again, just for people who just go, what the fuck is a political compass? This is what I'm talking about, right? You've probably taken this sort of political compass test, right? Now, underneath all of these, you've got all of this stuff. Now, what this is, right? As a political science, I want to show you sort of what the thinking is underneath this, okay? And why you can't sit there and just join a fucking club, and why political parties fundamentally are a stupid idea, especially two political parties for 320 million people. All right. This is the thing, right? I like this graphic actually because it does actually show quite this is even just at the top level, right? These ideologies. And these are the main ones. They're not even the big ones. So when someone says the far left, right, this is why it sounds so fucking stupid. Okay. Now, I would argue that here is probably more where the woke sit, in left populism, right? Right? Left populism, probably somewhere in between here. It's interesting actually. So Democratic, see how you've got these people who actually, there's probably a new category here around wokeism, right? It's not Maoism, right? But this is the thing, right? You need to understand these things, right? Now, I probably just so you know. Again, I don't believe in these models, and I'll explain why, which is that, like my values change. And I also want to talk about the history of left versus right, the etymology of just the word liberal versus conservative and those things, where they've come from. Because when you get back to this is why the definition of words matter. This is why the language, that we make sure that we're sharing the same language when we talk about things, or just, being precise is really important when it comes to this stuff. Because what I'm seeing, and this is maybe where I think I'm not the most precise thinker, but I do value precision when it comes to making sure that we go, okay, when we talk about feminism, okay, what definition are we talking about? When we talk about this, what do you mean? What does it mean? Because that shared meaning is how we sort of find common ground. What you'll find, especially in the culture wars, especially in fucking America with all their on heat hate fucking 24/7, right? With their different terms and wrong terms and all this fucking, it's just it's just like idiocracy on fucking seriously. Anyway, but right, I can't remember what my point was. Oh yeah, precision, precision and clarity. Good fucking job, Dan. Okay. Hi, flow state. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I just I can see you. I will just address it soon. But this diagram is actually quite useful, right? Because let me scroll down a bit. Because it shows the factions, and it shows that those people that are just talking about far left or far right, or now this is not even accurate. Okay, so this is oh yeah, I actually fit largely sort of here. Right. I would say I'm largely a, see, this is Marxist Leninism, right? They don't have actual social Marxism here. Deleonism is a form of that. It's a libertarian socialism movement. But again, there's stuff missing here. I'm a Marxist libertarian. Like, that's how I am, right? I would probably say I'm largely probably down here, right? This is where I would fit if I was to fit myself in this broad, like, this thing, right? Now, what's actually really interesting here in the political spectrum is that these guys, right, anarcho-capitalists, right, they're on the economic right, okay, because they believe in unregulated markets, okay? Well, not unregulated, but just voluntarism, right, is kind of that thing, right? Now, flow state, I'm a political scientist. If you've come here to correct me, I will bump you. Maybe just stop and listen to someone who knows more than you. You don't call it, I'm a fucking expert. So, now, so you've got individualist anarchism. That is actually not true. So maybe put your listening ears on. I'm showing theory. You're showing yourself to be quite stupid. Libertarianism means it is synonymous with anarchism, okay? You're in the US, you've been told wrong words. Okay, this is what most worldwide, everyone else except America, who has it all ass backwards, right? Don't know what these things are. Okay, so maybe you should just stop the loud American chewing. Now, ANCAPs don't make sense either, right? So Red said ANCAPs make no fucking sense either, but there they are. However, there's actually similarity. So if you look at anarcho-capitalism as voluntarism, right, which is this idea that a lot of these things represent a utopia, right, a utopian view. Even Marx, I think everyone agrees that most of these things represent utopian view, right? Like the utopian view for the left libertarians is largely individuals voluntarily exchanging labor and coexisting, and you know, and anarchists are not about like just, you know, whatever the fuck Americans define anarchy as, but anarchy is actually without rule. That's what it means, right? It's self-governing, and people sort of go into, like, you know, voluntary exchange. Is that realistic? No, because everyone needs to agree to that. And, you know, Twitter used to be the old internet used to be kind of an idealized version of that anarchy, right? So, yeah, I'm going to bump this fuck. I'm just going to hide these. Put user in timeout. There we go. So, you block for 5 minutes. So, what was I going to say? It's good to see that the Americans like to show themselves, isn't it? They really are insufferable people in general. Especially American men. Look at that fuckwit. Just flapping his jaw. He's got nothing better to do than to sit and lecture someone overseas on something he knows nothing about. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so back to it, hey? But anyway, what I find interesting, right? I know this is a slight derailment. But so when you talk about anarchy, it just means without rule. Like, again, we've got to get back to those sort of, again, it's a simplistic definition, but they've been co-opted. These meanings have been co-opted by people who don't know what they mean. And yes, words do change meaning. So, you know, there's obviously like baggage around the word anarchy, right? But a lot of that is largely propaganda and by government, right? But when you're a political scientist and you know your theory and all that stuff, you largely, I'll put it back to full screen. Hang on a sec. Let me just take that off. You don't need that anymore. But what you see, right, is basically that voluntarism. So on the left, anarchists, again, generalizing, there's lots of different tribes. Anarchists, right, means without rules. So basically, Marxists, in an ideal utopian universe, we'd all just sort of exchange goods and services. And those who believe that socialism doesn't have an economy attached to it, that's not true. People still work, people still make goods. It's just a different model for doing it. Okay, so shut the fuck up. Now, but the anarcho-capitalists just believe that it's a voluntary exchange of markets. So it's a marketing, it's like a commercial exchange. So everyone, so it is actually largely similar when you actually look at the words. So that was my point. So anarcho-capitalism is really just more about about the economic freedom, right? And the left libertarian is more about the personal freedom, right? But they're largely similar. It is actually not the what, it's more the how. So a lot of these things, right, at four corners of all of those axes, right, they all represent some sort of utopia. Now, that's where totalitarianism and utopianism and all those things, but this is what political scientists do, is try to break this stuff down and figure it out. Now, the political spectrum, that is one model of very, very, very many models, okay? It is not perfect. It is not even really correct, right? But largely people fall, right? Okay, are the dudes here to explain economics to us, are they? I'm just going to start exercising mute. I'm just going to turn the chat off. But yes, I would very much like it if people didn't derail what I was saying and let me get my fucking points out before correcting me. Would you do this to a man? No, you would not. So shut the fuck up. Now, I am a political scientist. I am trying to explain some concepts. If you're a political scientist with a degree bigger than mine, then I care what you've got to say. How's that? Thank you. Now, go fuck yourselves. So, here we go. I got out of go fuck yourself. Oh my God, I'm pitiful. I've just been told I was pitiful by some random mute. I'd put user in timeout. Okay, now I found that button. It's great. I hate dickheads. Don't you? Now, if you have lots of alts, then you're a troll. You shouldn't need lots of alts. Okay, now I don't engage with fucking people with usernames I don't know. And if you start with a username and you start correcting me and engaging me, like off the bat and mansplaining me, then like you're not going to get a good time with me. You met me. You only get alt accounts and you only get to use a username if you've used it before and been nice. Otherwise, you can fuck right off. This is not a democracy. Welcome to communism. Welcome to the far left authoritarian channel. Fuck off. Now, okay, so it's not the point. These people are just derailing my point, which is that all of these models are stupid. No one cares what Americans think. They've redefined all of the language and the words, and ultimately, how you behave matters way more than anything that you believe in. So if you are sitting there, actually this is not unrelated to me telling off fuckwits, which is that basically if you sit there and say, well, on paper, I took a quiz and I believe in world peace, but you're turning up on my fucking channel with no respect for boundaries, no respect for the fact that it might make someone uncomfortable, and correcting them on something, you're being a fucking, without any understanding of like the power dynamics that you might actually have at play. You're not on the fucking left, and you don't care. You're not a good person. You're a dickhead. I don't care if that's my point. My point has been, there's with the political quizzes and the spectrum, right? There's no point. You're not on the good side or the bad side or the right side or the wrong side. You're either a dickhead or you're not. It's like, fuck me, I do. Goodbye. Block. Now, I love that fucking button. I did not know that was there. Now I do. It makes things a lot more fun. So, I love how they're like, oh, it's public, therefore I have the right to come. See, oh yeah, but you're definitely right. You're definitely on the right side of humanity. If you just go, well, this is, okay, let's talk about male entitlement, shall we? I don't even chat on shit that I've paid for most of the time. Like, where do these fucking Yanks get off? It's in their DNA, to just colonize and dominate and wave their fucking dicks around. It's just insane. Would you just shut up? Fucking hell. Oh, here's a live stream with a woman talking. I think I'll go and flap my dick around because I'm right in everything that I do. You fuckwits. Anyway, we're just having some fun. Anyway, so Narrow Fort. I don't recognize that username either. Where are all these people unrecognizables coming from? It's quite fatiguing. Anyway, I'm just going to turn this shit off, right? Block. I'm just blocking him. I'm just going to block the... actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm sorry to those who actually cannot appear, but I'm just going to turn the whole chat off. Just give me 1 second. All right? Because these edgelords think that they're funny. They really think that they're funny when they're actually just fucking tedious. And I hope... I'm not fucking Twitter. You don't have the right to free speech on my fucking channel. Okay. Go fuck yourselves. Now, that was a heartfelt go fuck yourself. Did you feel it? Now, so, let me just get my thoughts back. Okay? Anyone asks I'm okay? I'm fucking fine. I've been a troll for 25 years. You cannot fucking troll me. You can distract me for a minute, but you don't affect me. You don't bother me, okay? And if you go around doing this sort of thing for fun, then you're not a good person. And so I win, okay? Thank you. Now, a lot of my point was actually about how there's not a lot of technical solutions to these problems, and that not being tribal and actually trying to get back to core values and who you are as a person is actually the best way to look at politics. It's the best way to approach politics, which is to do a values audit. These guys are fucking an exercise, a case study in this shit, right? Which is that they think that because they're on some sort of tribe that they have this righteous anger towards anybody that they disagree with. And that makes you a bad person, right? I don't care what your beliefs are. I imagine that, they might think that they're good people, but their actions would indicate otherwise. And that's my point. So that was the actual point of this video. So belief versus behavior. I think it's important to get back to that. Now, I was quickly explaining the political spectrum, how a lot of people agree on certain things. They just disagree on how, or they disagree on the approach, okay? Or you have dickheads who don't know what words mean, which is the other thing, they're just basically replace their soccer team or football team or basketball team or wrestling or whatever with political bullshit. They're the political equivalent of soccer thugs, right? That's the thing. So, but I'm focused on people who are truly interested in political understanding and discussion, and maybe how to be a better political sort of person, right? Or how to approach things as an activist, or not to get gaslit or pressured into feeling like you need to be involved in a political party or join it. There's nothing wrong with being tribeless, right? Absolutely nothing. Now, so sorry, I was just waffling a bit while I just sort of recalibrated my thoughts from the fuckheads. So the political compass, right? There's one, but there's lots of models, right? And often, now the thing that you like, I don't know if you've ever taken one of these quizzes, right? It'll ask you something like, I can't take those. I know roughly where I sit politically just because I know all the stuff. But in terms of taking a test like that, I also know that what was I going to say? I also know that how the questions are designed and what the outcome is. So a lot of people know that, when you take these political spectrum tests, they're heavily loaded, right? It's sort of like an either or situation, right? Our troll rightly pointed out, if he had let me finish, was that it's often where it's like, well, they put people's freedoms at odds with, but they put sort of equality or equality of opportunity at odds with economic freedom, when they're not necessarily even at odds with each other. They're just there's just conflicts that need to be sorted out between the two, right? And that's the thing, is that they need to find compromise. Now, I think people are forgetting about the consensus part of politics, which is mostly what politics is, which is finding middle ground. People seem to have forgotten that other 50% of the whole fucking process. Everyone's just we're living in idiocracy. It's fucking Twitter especially is just idiocracy, right? It's like you just, Anyway, I can't say that because you could think that I'm an idiot, and that's okay. Not true, but okay. Now, but the thing is, like, anybody who's trying to model political theory of left versus right. Now, the history of left versus right, I've said before, it was literally 1789. I can't remember the year. But after the French Revolution, you had the old lords and elites sitting on the right of the chamber, and you had the revolutionaries and liberals and radicals sitting on the left. It was physically just a whole group of people, left over there, right over there, right? That became sort of equated with being more conservative, right? And being, and on the other side, sort of, revolutionary, wanting to change it, radical, right? Now, radical in that sense means get to the root cause, and to dismantle that, thing, right? Radicalism has been changed to mean, other things, extremes. It doesn't mean that in political science, right? In political science, it has specific meanings, right? Now, so I'm gonna actually hide. Hang on, just give me a sec. I'm gonna hide the comments because I'm finding all of the wankers distracting. Hang on one sec. Let me turn them off. Just turning the comments. I can't see comments now. I'm just going to keep talking. I'm sorry, guys, but this is why we can't have nice things. Sorry. Now, what was I going to say? I can't remember now. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of these fuckwits. Can I just spend 10 minutes? I'm just going to spend 5 minutes talking about these people. I think that you need to look at yourself and really look at your behavior. And that, well, it is linked to what my overall point is with this video, which is that you can say that you have all of the virtues in the world, but if you don't live your values, then you don't have them. Okay. And that's actually my point about the political spectrum, because what I've seen, right, because there is this immense sort of social pressure at the moment to be progressive, right? Whatever the fuck that means. Like, no one person is fully progressive, right? If you're progressive and wanting to change shit all the time, that means you're chaos. It means you're living a life of chaos. Some things do need to be preserved or maintained or improved because they work. right? And we've learned from our mistakes and all of those sorts of things. So it's not an inherently, there's no binary between conserving things, right? I mean, it's it's not the status quo, and then those that want to just tear shit down, right? So that's one dichotomy. That is the left versus right. Then you've got the social left versus right. So that is largely the role of government in the economy, right? And also, but also remember that there are people on the left who are not about, they're not statists, right? There's, like I said, I'm largely libertarian Marxist, which means that, you know, I largely believe in smaller guilds, unions, smaller communities. I do believe that socialism doesn't work at scale. So what you can do is actually just, you know, have smaller nation states or smaller local governments and those sorts of things that allocate resources and help with those things. So people really just need people are idiots. Like that dickhead that said that, like, why don't he, maybe he should just go Google libertarian Marxism and read a thing or two and learn that Marx was actually a fucking libertarian by definition. It's like, what a fucking idiot. Anyway, so if you're going to come in and correct people, at least be right, okay? Idiots. So, anyway, but the point is, right, there's a lot of social pressure to be like progressive, right? Not to be seen to be a stick in the mud. That's psychological, right? That's something that's natural. You don't want to be seen to be uncool, right? So when you do a political spectrum test, like all these people are like bringing out their political compass, like, oh, but I'm left libertarian, I'm on the left. And it's like, no, but you're also tremendously right wing, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Right? The questions are designed that in a way that they sort of pitch issues against each other when they're not in opposition, right? One of the questions on the political compass is, should we have sort of, prioritize inflation over unemployment? That's an economics question, right? You'd have to be quite economically literate to understand that, right? And most economists tend to fall on one or the other. The answer is that it's fucking complicated and it depends. Right? Is it a massive crash? Is it something like COVID-19? Right? So when you're answering that question, there's a lot of stuff underneath those questions. And that's why I want to talk about, that thing where it's like, do you, in a perfect world with the best version of yourself, right? That's the problem with self-report, like in psych tests and those sorts of things. Like with the way that the questions are loaded, if you create a false dichotomy, right? Like the example of, what's your favorite beverage? Your favorite soft drink, but you don't drink soft drink. So what do you pick, right? You can't create those false dichotomies with the question. And also, right, that it's a lot of like, it depends, right? What's my favorite soft drink? Well, is it a really hot day? Is it, like there's lots of variables, right? Let's using that. I know it's a bad example, but that's just one example. But really, at the end of the day, if you drink Coke all of the time, then Coke's your favorite drink. You see what I'm saying? Like, so there's all those things where you could sit there and answer the question about, with self-report. It's like, well, there's first of all understanding how the question is going to end. So we know that if you sort of talk about free market, that makes you right wing, largely, right? Not 100%, but in this political compass, yes, it does. I also know that if you say something like, here's a stupid one, there's only two genders, which is they're using it wrong as well, right? They just somehow put that as right wing. So there's a value statement attached to that. Whereas I would say, well, no, there's two sexes and gender doesn't exist. So that there's no question for that. That's a largely left wing view, right? That's a radical feminist view, which is largely on the left of this spectrum. But you find yourself pitched on the right. So that's where I'm saying, like, on each individual issue, they're problems, okay? That's why these models aren't, you shouldn't be fucking building tribes around graphics, But, right. So anyway, let me have a look. I'm coming back to the comments, right? I think maybe I should mute some people, right? So I don't care if you're an economist. I'm a political scientist. So maybe you could fuck off. I have a master's degree in public policy, mate, and 25 years in digital, right? I'm blocking flow state 2. Block user. You're making it unpleasant. Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. Shut up, Americans! Please, can we just can you build that rocket to Mars and fuck off? Right? The political so the political compass test is not, but they're models. So again, they're designed to be, right? Okay, Medusa can go to block. So I'm blocking a lot of people today. I suppose that's a sign of that's good. And I know that it's actually one person being a prick because I can actually see who's viewing it. So there's not that many viewing it. We're having fun. So I'm just going to be, I'm blocking people. And I will actually go ahead and report them for harassment once I'm done. Use the system to your favor, ladies. So now, I don't care if you're an economist. This is my show. If you want an opinion, YouTube's free, mate. YouTube's free. Get your own fucking channel and fuck off. All right. That's my new view. I apologize for anybody who wants to have a good faith and fun conversation, for all my regulars. But, you know, as you grow these channels, they become harder and harder to manage in terms of dickheads. So at some point we'll have to move to like membership only or private links or that sort of stuff. But we'll get there. So anyway, so the political compass it's a model, right? Now, a lot of the reason why things feel like they're off their axis is because the axis is wrong in the first place. Okay? There's no meltdown. There's no meltdown. Block user. Okay. So, right. There's no meltdown with me, mate. Okay. I'm calm as a cucumber. I've been dealing with dickheads like you for longer than like most of you, like you've probably been alive. Okay. So go fuck yourself. Now, I will give you the benefit of the doubt, Nikki. Now, oh, hey, freaky. The chat's not coming up today because a bunch of people can't actually behave themselves. So, and apparently Americans are experts on everything, even though I opened with the fact that Americans don't actually know terminology. And then they started to mansplain me on my own discipline. And yeah, so, and also I would just like to point out that an economist is not a political scientist. They're different disciplines. It's almost like they're different things. And you don't pull rank. They're different disciplines. Go to an economist channel and argue with them. And fuck off. No, it's on YouTube this time. I've just blocked them, so you probably won't see them in the chat. So, anyway, okay. So this was a fucking, like, I might have to pre-record some of these theory things because they end up being derailed by fuckheads. But you know what? I think if any of the men are watching and they want to know what it's like actually being a woman trying to talk about anything, maybe learn from this, right? Yeah, okay. I'm actually going to report you and all of your alt accounts when I get off, okay? Because that's a breach of YouTube's terms of service. I've asked repeatedly and politely to stop, okay? You're going to get fucking reported, all right? Yeah, here we go. Let's let Soccer Dads, hang on, let's have some fun. Can we have some fun? Can we have some fun? Come on, guys. Let's have a look at what we're dealing with today. I'm putting the chat back on. Let's just let it go. Yeah, well, at least I probably have a bigger dick than you, so, you know. Clearly, somebody who, you obviously have some very, very deep-seated issues if you think that this is cool or funny. Fuck off to 4chan, okay? And I think that even they'd call you a dickhead because I like the 4chan guys, right? Come on, guys. Oh, Scott, he's so witty, isn't he? Let's just have some fun. Because obviously he's derailed my video, so... I don't like men. I don't like you. I have sons and I have a husband and I'm very happy and they're very good because they're not dick waving fuckwits. Okay? I like men who aren't disgusting human beings. It's almost like there's I don't have to automatically like all men just because they treat me like shit. Look at yourself. Soccer dad, I feel sorry for your kids, mate. Right? You're a thug and you hate women, and I'm sorry whichever mother or sister or wife or ex-wife, hopefully ex-wife, hurt you. I'm sorry, but I didn't hurt you. You're here. Fuck off. I don't give a fuck. You are a man in a derogatory manner. You're behaving that way. You just don't like being talked back to, fuckwit. Oh, this is funny. I don't care if I hurt you. You fucking dish it out and condescend and mansplain. You get what you pay for. You just don't like women who stand up to you because you're just used to waving it around and getting everyone to say whatever the fuck you want. It's called male entitlement. Here we go. It's right on display, right? Yeah, you are, aren't you? Gosh, you're so witty. Thank you. You've come back with the intellect that I think, I actually think that you should come and talk to my son. Right? He's a far better troll and far wittier than you. And he's got probably you're probably younger than he is, but anyway. Look at the fucking profile picture of this dude. He's got a hat and a fucking beard. I'm not shocked. No, I'm not video chatting with you. You're a fuckwit. You're obviously a porn sick 4chan troll. Go back to Reddit and back to your fucking whatever trigonometry circle jerk that you came from. All right? Sorry, trigonometry guys. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Go back to the Rogan mentions, man. Fuck off. He has a beard and a fucking hat. Oh, yeah, it's like, that thing where, let's try to salvage some of this video, all right? Let's try to salvage it. You know that thing where I was saying where you assign fucking make people predictable with a label? This dude's pretty predictable for that label, right? Exactly how I pictured him. No, I don't want to talk. Come on, Flow State, and talk it out. Nah. I don't even know what is flow state anyway. Yeah, I know, right? Freaky Red says, "I don't know, not your son." Yeah, he fucking runs circles around this guy. I apologize, Scott, if I have misread you or misunderstood you, but we got off on the wrong foot, which was that I was trying to do a good faith conversation video with a bit of humor, and you just sat there fucking thinking that you could just mansplain over the top of me and correct me on my own shit. I don't care if you're an economist. They're different disciplines. How about you just go and do your own thing? Why don't you go and just go live stream right now and leave me the fuck alone? Okay? This is called roasting. This is called a woman who asserts herself. Okay? You might not be used to that, soccer dad. So, I don't know what flow state is. I don't have hatred. It's called a master's degree in fucking politics, you fuck skull. Oh, did you not know that women can actually know things without it being fucking hate? Go fuck yourself. You know better than woke fucks. Yes, I know what it is. For fuck's sake, I don't know what your thing is. I know what your account is, you dullard. Okay, let's just I'm trying to be a better person. Clearly, it's working because I'm asserting a boundary. I have said go away several times and you still don't respect it. So maybe you could, rather than sitting around and again, back to the theme of the video, belief versus behavior. You can sit and talk about being a better person or how to be a better person or fucking whatever, all you like. But you're behaving like a cockwomble. So go fuck yourself. The matriarchy. Yeah. And your mother would be embarrassed of your behaviour right now, mate. Tell this guy to fuck off, Jules. Fuck off. The matriarchy. Oh, man, I'd love to talk to this dude's mother. She didn't teach him much, did she? She didn't teach him how to behave around ladies. A cockwomble. Synonymous for misogynist and dickwad. I'm not a lady, right? Oh, I never wanted to be. I didn't choose it, mate. It happened, and I happen to be a brain in a woman's body. I don't care if you think I'm a lady. All right, I don't give a fuck. I have a happy life, a stable life, a sense of self, and your shit doesn't work on me. Just because I'm a woman. It is a very nice brain, right? And it outperforms yours. So please get off my channel. All right, that was fun and boring, right? Am I nagging? Did you say nagging? Negging. Yeah, he's negging. It doesn't work. Hateful. I'm not hateful. I just think you're a fuckwit. You have to care about, you see, the thing about hating someone is that you actually need to care first, right? I have like limited resources, okay, to hate people. I don't have that kind of time or energy. I don't give a shit. I just think you're a fuckwit and I will forget about you. I don't care. All right. I need Xanax. No, I don't. You need to get laid. All right, we're blocking him now. Right. You're such a fuckwit, man. Oh, yes. So let's go. Actually, let's just have some fun with the MRA lottery. Say that I'm neg me. So if you can't get me on the intelligence, right, which, you know, he can't because he can't even fucking spell. Then what you do is you swarm and dominate. So what he did was he went in with his old accounts and tried to intimidate me into fucking paying attention to him. When that didn't work, what you do is you call me uncouth or say that I'm not a lady. Next, he's going to say something about how unfuckable I am or whatever. It's the fucking pattern, isn't it? Let's play bingo, shall we? It's great. Or then the next step is, you know, to imply that somehow a woman who asserts herself needs medicating. You know, yeah, good job. He's trying to be a better person, everybody. He's just trying to be a better person. Yeah, I thought the Americans would be in bed at this time, but this guy's obviously up wanking. So it would appear that he has no real like structure in his life, or meaning and or real meaningful connection. So what he likes to do is come in and just sort of make women feel uncomfortable and derail their shit, because what that does. Let's explain the psychology of that, shall we? Is that in that moment where he gets the dopamine hit for having made someone else feel like shit, he gets a small and very slight hit of dopamine that makes him forget that he's a fuckwit and a loser for 2 seconds. Am I right? I know, but I only pay attention to you because it's worthy. I'm not paying attention to you. I'm entertaining my crew. You're my stooge, mate. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Tallum, it hasn't gone well today, but that's okay. But my lightum's better. But, you know, again, me being a stupid woman who needs a Xanax and all, right? I probably do actually, because I have dexamphetamine in my veins, so it's probably not entirely untrue. But what we just, you know, people feel. I think we just need to remember to feel sad for these people. If you get off on this, you're basically a virtual flasher. You're the version of a flasher, and you think you're witty, you think you're clever, but I don't care. Because I can just, like, call you a fuckwit. Because that's freedom, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? I'm laying in bed next to my girlfriend. She thinks you need Xanax too. Yeah, well, your girlfriend's probably abused. She probably thinks you're a fuckwit. Let me guess, your girlfriend hates TERFs and stuff too, right? And thinks sex work is work. And she probably, her version of feminism is choosing between shades of lipstick. Am I right? If she's fucking a dude that looks like you, like the fucking, is that a fedora? I can't see the full profile picture, but if that's a fedora, her opinion doesn't matter to me because she chose to fuck you. It's bad enough you can't help how you are, but the person who fucks you has a choice, man. So that's worse somehow. No, I'm saying, oh, fuck. I don't think lipstick is oppressive. I think that women who think that choice is at all relevant to women's rights are idiots. It doesn't make any difference. Lipstick is lipstick. It's paint for faces, right? Anyway. It's one thing. Yeah, actually, you know what? Like, imagine being this dude's mother. Now we're just gonna go on a roast. Let's just fucking roast. Let's just do some Taya fun, eh? This is what happens when I try to fucking be smart, then we end up with, join me, cunt bubbles. Now. Imagine being the mother of this guy. Like, I imagine she separated all his food on his plate and cut his meat for him up until the age of 15. And I imagine that I just always imagine like Eric Cartman when I think about these people, but like a less nice version, right? Like the dude from World of Warcraft. But not only did she not teach him how to behave himself in polite society, but she also didn't choose to give birth to this person. So she actually has to pretend to love this guy. His mother can't call him a fuckwit because she's his mother, right? That's really sad. This poor depraved individual. He can't help how he is. He came out that way, right? His mother probably coddled him a bit too much, right? Seymour Skinner style. And he probably didn't really connect well with women. But, eventually he got someone to fuck him. I question her judgment. Interesting. But anyway, I'm not hostile. I'm being funny, man. You don't get fucking funny. Do you want to dish it out? You want to dish it out? Come on, then. Well, at least some people are considering the impact of things. Because your girlfriend doesn't sound too bright because she fucks you. Or doesn't fuck you. Maybe just sits in quiet resentment while you open your wallet. We don't know. Good on her. No, you're not going to be on the stream because I don't know who you are. Is there a hurt feelings report somewhere? Yeah, I think that's called transphobia. Cancel me, fucker. Call my boss. I don't care. I am my boss. I can say what I want. No, no, it's all good. Anyway, the light fucked up. Whatever. So, are we going to even try to fucking finish with this theory yet? My point was, okay, this is the first time. Here we go. Let's finish this one. My point was that don't take the political compass as this is one of my things with political commentators. I'm on the left. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Have you been in a left-wing political party? Have you joined any kind of activist organization? Have you actually done anything? Are you, because basically these questions, they ask you a whole bunch of stuff that's all made up scenarios in your own head. I know an awful lot of left-wing men right now who would have smiled and smirked at themselves and gone, yes, I support women's rights. But we all know what happens the second that your actual values come into conflict right, with your like popularity or status, right? We all know what happens then, right? We all know that you will abandon. See, and that was my point with the video as well, which was that look at maybe things when you're working as a. Okay, let's go back. Let's rewind. Brain working, right? I'm my own boss, said the unemployed. No, that's called owning a business, dickhead. God, you're such a dickhead. Is this really what you've got? Is this really what you've got? Literally eaten the. All right. No, I don't care. You're not my customer. I'm blocking you. You're tedious now. I'm bored with you. Okay, block. Now, I love that button. My point was, okay, this was actually the thing that I was going to talk about. It'll only take a couple of minutes and then we'll just do the hour or just over the hour, which is that you can just, like these questionnaires, right? Self-report. Is that it's complicated. Like even psychologists, when you're doing psych testing and those sorts of things, right? Self-report is problematic because there's certain like sort of second guessing. First of all, second guessing the test, right? First of all, second guessing the test. Bit of a tongue twister there. Second of all, right? Which is sometimes when you have sort of it depends or I don't know as the answer, right? Like obviously good questionnaires can do that, but they're still not perfect, right? And especially when you've got things like these culture wars, right? Where the axis shifts and, people who are sort of, when you've got that shift between sort of authoritarian left stuff, but you've also got this wokeism, which is coming very much from the right wing of America, right? It's very confusing for people. And I think that's why it's so disorienting, because people are trying to sort people into categories, right? That really aren't really anything anyway, right? This is why I think like you can be conservative on some issues and progressive on others. I'm generally progressive when it comes to things like sexuality, family life, child rearing, all of those things. I also accept, but I also believe that science. I'm progressive when it comes to science in the sense that you can't politicize that, right? That's always going forward. It's always being tested. It's always being proven. But the need to prove it is technically a conservative view, but it's a law. It's a fact. It's something, it's what works, right? And that's where when you get into things like this is why critical theory and these things are breaking a lot of these systems, is because we're applying politics and political axes to things like that old progressive and conservative divide or authoritarian and libertarian divide where they needn't be applied. They are just sort of accepted, right? And again, they can be improved. That's what the traditional role of philosophy and those things would be, or critical theory would be. How do we improve this? How do we make it better? I'd very much like to be someone who, rather than sort of fighting against like stupid fucking words, right? And dickheads like this guy, right, is actually trying to brainstorm solutions, right? Sorry for all my fun people, right? it's just, we have some fun, and like he wouldn't let up, and I'm sure he's going to keep coming back, right? But we all know his mother doesn't love him and his girlfriend doesn't fuck him, and she's only with him because he buys her things. So that's all I can conclude, because if he's just laying there, crashing some random person's stream to insult them, then obviously he's got a very well-adjusted existence. The reason I don't try, like I have a digital agency. I run campaigns for people, right? I run ads and I run accounts, right? I have never had more than 2 fucking accounts for anything. If you have a lot of accounts, then you're a troll, okay? Especially personally, right? Block. All right. I am going to give some people on YouTube. If you're one of my regulars, right, and you want mod privileges, I think that I think we've gotten to that point, right? So the political spectrum, it's not fixed. Okay, so you joined me late. The point is, right, that it's a model, right? So think of like anything like a Venn diagram. It's just a model for explain like economics. They explain things, but they're not literal representations of how things work, right? So left and right, that's a massive. So when you do a political test, it will lump in sort of, you could actually have anarcho-communist views 90% of the time and have one one extremely racist like view, right? And be on like a fascist view, right? And it averages all of those answers into, oh look, I'm a green. Like it doesn't work very well. It's basically averaging things out. Just like like personality tests are the same. They're not indicative of who you are as a person. They give you some structure to your thoughts, or they help to explain maybe where people might become. So if you believe, it's useful when someone's trying to get their point across, and for the purpose of organizing in political parties, obviously, right? But really, that it's not these ideologies, right? This is one of those things, I've been thinking about this, where I think it's a side effect of everyone having access to all of the information when they probably shouldn't, right? And with this stuff, it's like, when you sort of Google your own symptoms, and it's like, well, yeah, you can just Google symptoms and get an idea of, what it might be, but it still requires somebody with medical training who knows like the context and knows how all of the things work together, and they've got the biomedical background and they understand how all of the moving parts work, right? Especially political scientists, because the role of sort of political scientists. Okay, the difference between a political scientist and a policy person and an economist is that they all sort of do different things. An economist is just focused on, economics, right? They don't, and there is some obviously overlap with psychology and what you think, like, what choice is and how much choice we have, all those things, right? You've got rational choice theory versus other things. Then you've got, what did I say? Policy people. So I'm largely a policy person and somebody who's just sort of focused on how you sort of build consensus and bring all of these ideas together and create a workable like thing that everyone can live with. That's what policy people do. They write policy and law, right? Lawyers test the laws and they test policy and they go through the courts and they argue for certain interpretations of the law, right? That's what lawyers generally do, or they write law. Legal studies people, they study the sort of the power. It's not practicing as a lawyer, but you study the institutions and all the dynamics and all the principles of law. That was my minor, so I do have a bit of a legal thing. And then like a politics person, so you've got political scientists who are concerned with modeling political decisions. Again, it depends on how you define the word politics, right? And political science is a lot of modeling and data and sort of rules and structure around chaos, which I understand and I do. It's a lot of stats and, trends and all that sort of stuff. But sort of, like I said, these political spectrum models and all these sorts of things, right? They fit into that. But there's lots of them, right? There's lots of them. It's not just the political spectrum. This is like, again, it's what fucking Americans do, which is, it's American, like, American bullshit, right? Which is that they create a thing and then they decide that's the thing and they just abandon everything else. Here's the junk food version, the most simplistic and, bias confirming thing that I want to be true. And then I will just abandon all of the alternatives and just make it the default. It's the American way. It's the American way. Anyway. And, and then, so you've got political scientists, then you've got people who just study politics. And then you've got people who study politics, which is, the art and science of governing. right? And again, depends on all of the definition of politics. Then you've got sociology, right, which deals with power relationships and society and sort of, that's where sort of a lot of social workers and psychologists and sort of very social science heavy stuff, where it sort of teeters more into philosophy, right? Political science and economics head more towards the sort of measurement and data and those sorts of things, right? And then you've got sort of you've got sociology, and then you have things, the subsets of that. So you've got media studies, cinema studies, gender studies, all these sort of cornflake packet degrees all the way over there. But they all do a different thing. Now, I want people to acknowledge that somehow a cult was built by somebody who has a PhD in literature, and somehow they get to deny biological sex in law, and not, I don't know how that people don't just laugh that they think Butler is anything but a lit fucking professor. But anyway. Political science isn't real science. Thanks. We know. That's why it's called political science and not science. You dumb fucks. Okay. But there is social science, right? It means that when you say social sciences versus sociology, they say social science because it is data driven and is focused on research methods and statistics and all of that sort of stuff. So there is a scientific element to it because it uses the scientific method for a lot of things, which is to make so shut the fuck up. Okay. Yep. If that's the same person, I'm giving them like 2 seconds to say that they're not them, and then I'm going to block them too. And I'll just make sure that I report all of the accounts. It'll be fine. You can feel free to report them as well. And this is actually just going to end up this way as you get more and more people watching my shit. I'm sorry, guys. It's just one of those things. So, okay, I won't. Okay, good. Sorry. See, that's the problem, right? That's why this guy's just gone and messed it all up for everyone else. So I apologize. Welcome the bone pile. I'm not getting famous. I don't want to be famous. I just wanted to talk to people about stuff that I don't have time to write about. And then people just come in and just start derailing. And, I'm also trying to be funny and be a comedian and stuff. So whatever happens, I just roast the shit out of you. It's just roasting practice. It's fine with me. So now, yeah. Anyway, this is my advice for anybody who's managing any kind of online community. Set boundaries. Anybody. Set boundaries, healthy boundaries. Don't accept this shit. We don't have to accept this, right? You don't have to accept these things. We have the tools in our hands, right? Now that I know that there's a block button on StreamYard, it makes me very happy because I can block in stream. I couldn't do that before. I didn't know that was there. So, but we don't have to tolerate like any behavior that you would not tolerate with somebody just storming into your workplace or storming into your and knocking on your door and calling you whatever. You don't have to. It's like, yeah, it might be public, but anything that you would not tolerate sitting in a public. When people, I love that idea where they're like, oh, it's public. Yeah, would you walk up to me and harass me in public? There's laws against that too. If you walked up to me and fucking started harassing me at the shops, right? I love that, like, oh, it's public, therefore. It's like, no. That's why we need to get that sort of disconnect out of our heads that digital life is different from offline life. We need to just behave ourselves and behave consistently. And that was the point of the fucking video, which is that people should really get back to what are your values? My values are, it's worth doing a values audit. At some point, I can do one that sort of talks about this. I would do this with brands, but you can do it personally as well, right? Which is that you just figure out what your values are. And everyone has different values are how you prioritize, right? There's not beliefs. Beliefs are different from values. Values are personal qualities that sort of help determine why you do what you do and how you act the way that you act, right? I am a fan of consistency, right? I know that, moral, logical consistency, right? Curiosity, creativity, I don't really care much about money or fame or anything like that. My values are more about justice, fairness, um, you know, misandry, of course, according to these people, because, you know, a woman telling a man to fuck off means you hate men. It's like, no, I think you're a fuckwit. That's a very core value that I hold dear, is my right to tell a man that he's a fuckwit. No, it wasn't harassment. It's just trolling. But at the same time, it's just like, I think all these people that are more fucking autistic than actual autistic people. It's just entitlement. It is. It's just that feeling like, I think maybe you need to look at online communities as maybe it's a solution, which is just, again, empathy. If this guy had actually realized how just being a dick and crashing and making it uncomfortable for everyone, right? I'm sure it gives him his jollies. I'm sure he gets a lot of fun out of it, right? And having a bit of a laugh at someone's expense, right, is funny, but be honest with yourself about why you do these things, right? Is it to feel like superior? Is it to feel some power? Is it, you know? Yeah, it was a bit like that, Mr. Talib. It's like, yeah. Anyway, I try not to stereotype people, but they always. Why is it that I very much try to not make assumptions about people? But why is it that you can just see the profile picture and like the first couple of like comments, and you go, you know that thing, and sometimes you get it wrong. Like the bone. Actually, this is a good example. The bone pile, right? When you're on Twitter, sometimes you can get it wrong. This is something that men need to know. And this is probably more like if you think about schemas in psychology, like the patterns of behavior or some sort of. It's like you put on a tape and you're on that track. It's like a track. When you're dealing with sort of high volume stuff like Twitter, and women have this. This is something that women are probably born with that men don't have, which is the ability to very quickly assess the safety and or danger or the risk of this interaction, right? That is just a thing that women have, whether you believe it's because we're naturally nurturers or what. I'm saying that's a fact that women are just wired a certain way, either through like biology or through like this is a hostile society where everyone wants to fucking kill us or upset us or whatever. Women have developed, generally have a highly tuned sense for safety, right? And that's why some well-intentioned men might end up, I've done this a few times where I've just gone, oh, fuck, here we go, mansplaining energy. Because when you're dealing with it all day, every day, it follows a track, right? And a lot of people don't realize that they're on the track. And when I'm down or not down, I don't go on social media when I'm down, but when I'm sort of distracted or busy or it's first thing in the morning or something like that, and I just like, or it's Monday. It's always mansplaining Monday. I don't know why it's Monday. I think it's because it's the weekend in the United States that like Monday morning is just insufferable for me. But it's just like, well, actually, and you go, okay, great. Didn't ask. Thank you. And then they go, it's always explaining your own shit to you. And then they go, what? I know better than you. And then but usually if you push back, they attack you. And then they start attacking you in exactly the exactly the pattern that this guy followed. And it's just like, I know exactly what he was going to say. So it's like, yeah, it is a little bit like a comedian with a heckler in a way, because comedians prepare. It's like they know what they're going to, they have a fucking, it's like, we know. It follows a pattern. And that's the problem, I think, with guys when they accidentally get attacked. Well, they might, maybe just to be a little more understanding or forgiving when women knee-jerk react, it's because there's been 10 other guys that day where a comment with the same tone as yours has ended in fucking abuse and assault, like a fucking insults and negging and, all of that. And it's like, well, do you go with the 1% who might be genuine, or do you just assume that, 9 out of 10? And I do try to take people on a case-by-case basis, but I'm not a perfect person, right? I try to be charitable, but I also I don't tolerate abuse. And if it's something, and I also just don't have the time to sit there figuring out whether this is going to escalate or not. I just don't have that kind of time, right? This guy's obviously got a lot of time. right? This guy's got a lot of time on his hands. I know it's not Monday now. I said Mondays is usually mansplainer day, right? Yeah, I said on Mondays I often wake up to Twitter and my replies are often filled with actuallys and explanations and like telling me shit that assumes that I'm 12 years old and don't know anything. It's like, oh fuck, it must be Monday. That's what I meant. But I'm saying, like, for those, this is, I think, for guys that are wanting to understand why women are so defensive with this stuff, it's because of 10 times, right, when they're mansplained, 9 times out of 10, it turns into abuse, right? And you might be one of the good guys, and that's fine. But again, that's that understanding and empathy thing that I'm trying to sort of get across, which is that, like, there's been things where men have signed up or posed as a woman or whatever on and written articles about that sort of thing and the kind of hate that they get online. Like, it's just ongoing, right? It's ongoing. And so it's just easier, especially when you're sort of tired and over it and you're onto your 10th fucking mansplain for the day, right? And again, we can talk about whether mansplaining is a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. But it's said with love. It's not, but it is. It's absolutely a thing. Men just assuming that you don't know what you're talking about, right? But this is actually a really good example of how mansplaining something gets very ugly pretty quick, right? If that was somebody who was quite violent, right, you could see how that can go from 0 to fucking 100 very quickly, right? That's the reality of sort of being a woman with an opinion anywhere, right? That's just how it is. You might be a nice guy, but we have to assume that you're going to be that guy. And that's unfortunate. So that's what I'm saying with it's not a thing. Okay, well, I just said that it was, and my opinion matters on my channel more. So stay mad. Stay mad. Feel your boots. You can sit there saying it doesn't exist and just deflect and deny, or what you could do is listen to what someone's saying to you and learn a bit. Okay, I just said that it was a thing. I just said that people literally just saw it unfold on this channel when I was starting to talk about the political spectrum and the mansplaining started, right? It is a thing. You just saw it unfold. And the reason that we have to assume that it's going to get abusive is because 9 times out of 10, it gets abusive. Okay. And these penis fucks, right? These American loud chewing, dick waving fuckwits make the internet unbearable for everyone else. And until they learn to accept that they're a fuckwit or they get banned, I don't actually agree with banning, but I believe that I should not have to put up with your shit, and you should not have the right to create 8 fucking accounts, that 1 block should be enough, right? You're a garbage human if you do that sort of thing to people, okay? You're the people who fuck it up for everyone else. You're the people who make it so that Twitter can't fucking function. You're the people who make it so that moderates get banned and conservatives get banned because you have 8 alt accounts that are fucking harassing people. You're why people get banned unfairly, because it's why we can't have nice things. Okay? All right. It's you again, is it? Okay. Off you fuck. Go suck Trump's dick in the fucking... Yeah. I think Americans should be asleep all the fucking time. Thomas, Dr. Thomas, the anaesthetist, can you help us out, please? Can you please put them to sleep? Send me the bill. I will pay. I'm sure we could get a crowdfunder for Thomas to put all of America to sleep for us. Oh, Jesus. I'm so done with these fuckwits. Anyway, I'm sorry this was derailed. But I hope it was entertaining anyway. But I actually enjoy the sort of the roasting it, flexing muscle anyway. So anyway, the light changed again. Let's pretend that the lights didn't change, shall we? I just fucking cracked it and spent a fortune on lights, and now it's fucking breaking again. I got no, I just cracked the shits and went and bought but also, because the curtain rails I just bought tension rods, and because I don't measure things, because came home, threw the fucking tension rods and the curtain, like blackout curtains down, because we've got this is a massive room with like very large windows. And basically it was like, and the window is wider than the tension rod. So Paul has like put cable ties on like one of the other curtain rod for now, because I really wanted to put the blockout curtains up without having to fucking do it. It's like, and then I basically upturned the whole games room area because because of the lighting situation. It's funny. Anyway. Anyway, if that fucking alt troll wants to buy me a camera, he can. Because you got to, I reckon dudes like him pay for the kind of fucking ass abuse that he got handed to him. I mean, I did mention the fact that he's probably got mummy issues. I'm sorry she didn't make you your favourite pasta every night. And your father didn't love you. It's a psychological profile. It's highly likely that that's the case. Mentally healthy people don't behave this way. Okay? That's the thing. The thing is, when you've got healthy boundaries and a sense of self, this stuff doesn't bother you. It bothers me in the fact that it's, again, values. Let's get back to values and behavior. It upsets me because a lot of people don't understand, and you probably think it's funny to go and pick on some young teenage girl too, don't you? You think it's a big laugh because she's trying to figure out the world. You're one of those people who think it's funny, and you go and send all of your friends, and it's actually just tremendously sad. I have sons and they're gamers, and they're all. I got a sense of humor. I'm on 4chan. I understand all of this stuff. But there's good people there and there's fuckwits, and the fuckwits are the ones that are ruining it for everybody else. So maybe try not to be a fuckwit. Buy your girlfriend some flowers. I'm sure she hasn't had any in months. And do the fucking laundry. And call your mother and tell her that you love her. And that if you want to be a better person, respect your mother and all she went through. Okay. It is that. It's that fuckwit. Okay, well, he's banned. Okay. So I'm going to go, because unless somebody who has mod privileges on my Periscope, I can't block Periscope from here. I can only block YouTube and Facebook. So this fuckwit's going to be blocked permanently because he's just been a dickhead. Anyway, I'm going to... Yeah, see, look at this. Look at this dickhead. He actually thinks he's winning. He thinks he's won, when everyone really just thinks that you're a sad individual and that there's something fundamentally and deeply wrong with your psychology. If you think that this is actually... No, you didn't colonize Australia. You acted like a fuckwit. Okay? And we're used to fuckwits because we have to watch your fuckwit TV shows, your fuckwit culture wars, your fuckwit tech platforms, your fuckwit dick-waving bullshit. And we hate you. Okay? I'm not mansplaining. Okay? You can't mansplain if you're not a man. Dickhead. You're not bright, are you? This is really, as top quality as this commentary is, I'm going to try and I'm going to show some mercy to this individual. I'm going to say that, please don't wear a mask. Please don't wear a mask in your fucking country that doesn't have like the ability or capacity to fucking handle a virus, or the healthcare. So, I don't normally say things like this, but you're a fuckwit. And you're a sad individual, and I think you should get some therapy and look deeply into why that you think you're winning. You're a very sad person. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for these like American fucks. I really do. That they're just so brainwashed and so stupid. They don't even know how stupid they are. Imagine being like this Dunning-Kruger effect where they just don't realize what we're all laughing at it. Right. Thank you, Red Star. That's great. Awesome. Periscope's a bit hard to moderate because it's sort of not designed for like anything but mobile streaming. I'm thinking of just turning Periscope off. It seems like way more effort than it needs to be because I end up just attracting these fucklords. So anyway, I'm going to go. It's all right. They can watch, but they're just not allowed to comment. And yeah, whatever. Let him go. I'll just start. That's why it's good to subscribe, and then you can get invite-only links and stuff. Yeah. At least if they're going to abuse me, they can pay me for the privilege to get access, yeah? That'd be funny. So, I'm going to go. I said that half an hour ago. You learned nothing about the political spectrum, but we'll be back. All right? I'm starting to think that I should actually not even schedule live streams because it looks like I've got a troll who actually follows me. So I'm going to get this person reported. I know that doesn't do much because they just get a VPN and all this shit, whatever. Right? I'm not an idiot. I know that he's just going to be a nuisance, but I'm also just, if he shows up, I'm glad because I've got a troll that I can just, poke him in his manhood or lack thereof. Because real men don't do this. And that's the thing. You feel like a sad, pathetic, little man with, yeah. It's very sad. I'm going to go. MI Records is probably another person. Whatever. I'm going to go. I hope that this has been at least educational, not in the way that we expected, but in the way that why I think this is actually a good show rather than tell example, right? No, it's a good show rather than tell example about why Twitter has these problems with censorship. Like, don't you want this fuckwit banned? Yeah? Do you want all of the false positives to go with him? No. He needs to learn how to use technology, right? Properly and be a actual fucking human being. Rather than a fuckwit, because he either looks like a bot, right, who does this, or he's actually just a fucking dickhead, right? Go back to Reddit. So, I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. No, you hang up. You hang up. Yeah. I'll be back tomorrow talking about astroturfing, irony. But I will try and come back to this topic later. But eventually they'll give up. Okay, love you. Oh, and if you want to moderate on these things, let me know and I'll add you. It just makes it a lot easier because, yeah. Otherwise, I will need to just turn it off, and that makes it unpleasant for everyone. We don't want that. I'll start to do sort of patron-only streams, but I don't know how to do that. You can't gift patrons. So it's, yeah. And I've got my website, but I've got to set up the members area so I can start to just give people memberships for free and at least then create some sort of vetting process for some of these things so we can get to the proper fucking educational stuff. Anyway, I love you. I hope the men learn from this, what it's like, right? So this doesn't happen to Brett Weinstein. Right, Weinstein, does it? Doesn't happen. I love you. Bye.